Have you ever tried so hard to hide your feelings, only to embarrass yourself in front of the one person you wanted to impress? Because that's exactly what happened to Amara Okafor. And by the time the famous Korean college star finally noticed her, her life would never be the same again. But before we begin, if you love heartwarming Afro-Korean romance stories filled with laughter, unforgettable moments, and happy endings, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Afro-K Tales, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Red Heart. Now let's begin. Seoul National Hanmin University wasn't just famous for producing future CEOs, doctors, and politicians. It was also home to one student every person on campus seemed to know. Kang Min-jun. At 22 years old, he wasn't just the captain of the university basketball team. He was the student council president, a straight-A engineering student, the face of 3 clothing brands, and according to every freshman on campus, the most handsome man in South Korea. Whenever he walked across campus, conversations stopped. Girls secretly fixed their hair. Students whispered. Phones appeared out of nowhere. Even professors smiled when they saw him. It was as if the entire university revolved around Kang Min-jun. Well, almost everyone, because there was one girl who desperately wanted to act normal around him. Unfortunately, she had never succeeded, not even once. Amara, hurry up! Her roommate, Hannah, shouted from outside their dorm room. We're going to lose our seats. I'm coming, Amara yelled while struggling to tie the bright green scarf wrapped around her neck. She looked at herself in the mirror. 20-year-old Amara Okafor had traveled all the way from Lagos, Nigeria, after earning one of the university's most competitive international scholarships. She had promised her parents 3 things before boarding the plane: focus on school, stay out of trouble, graduate with honors. Developing an impossible crush on Korea's biggest campus celebrity had definitely not been part of the plan. She grabbed her backpack. I can do this, she whispered to herself. I'm just watching a basketball game. I won't scream. I won't stare. I definitely won't embarrass myself. Hannah looked at her with a knowing smile. You've been saying that before every game. This time I mean it. You said that last week. This time I really mean it. The university gymnasium was already packed. Students waved banners. Drums echoed through the building. The cheerleaders practiced one final routine. Amara and Hannah squeezed into the last 2 available seats. Then, the arena lights dimmed. A thunderous roar erupted. The captain is here. Kang Min-jun. The basketball team jogged onto the court. Number 11 stepped forward. Tall, broad shoulders, jet black hair slightly damp from warm-ups, calm eyes that somehow looked gentle and distant at the same time. He acknowledged the cheering crowd with a small nod before beginning his stretches. Amara forgot how to breathe. Oh no, Hannah whispered. What? You're staring again. I'm not. You haven't blinked. I'm observing his footwork. Hannah burst into laughter. His footwork. Yes. As a business student? Amara cleared her throat. There are economic benefits to good footwork. Really? Don't ask me to explain. The referee's whistle blew. The game began. Within seconds, Min-jun stole the ball, sprinted across the court, and soared into the air for a thunderous dunk. The gym exploded. Without thinking, Amara jumped to her feet. She froze. Hundreds of students turned to look at her. Even the referee blinked. The word husband nearly escaped her lips. She slapped both hands over her mouth. Hannah slowly turned toward her. You almost said it. I know. You actually almost said it. I know. At that exact moment, Kang Min-jun looked toward the stands. For the first time, his eyes landed directly on Amara. And for one unbearably long second, he didn't look away. What was he thinking? Was he annoyed? Confused? Or had the famous campus star just noticed the loud Nigerian girl who couldn't hide her crush? Amara wished the basketball court would suddenly crack open and swallow her whole. Why had she almost shouted, "That's my husband," in front of nearly 5,000 students? And worst of all, Kang Min-jun had heard her, or at least, she thought he had. The crowd quickly turned back to the game, but Amara slowly sank into her seat until only her eyes peeked over the chair. Hannah couldn't stop laughing. I told you. I hate you. No, you don't. I really do. You almost proposed to him. I did not. You were one word away. Amara buried her face in her scarf. I'll never come to another basketball game again. You've said that after every game this semester. This time I mean it. Meanwhile, on the court, Min-jun caught the inbound pass. His teammate, Park Jae-hyun, leaned closer while jogging beside him. What are you smiling about? I smiled. You did. No. You've had the same serious face for 3 years. So, you just smiled. Min-jun dribbled the ball without answering. His eyes briefly drifted toward Section C. Row 7. The girl with the green scarf. She had hidden behind her seat. Again, he had noticed her weeks ago. Not because she was loud, although she certainly was. Not because she waved banners, although she always did. But because, every home game, she sat in exactly the same seat. She celebrated every basket like her own family had scored it. And every time he accidentally looked her way, she panicked. It was strangely amusing. The final buzzer echoed through the gym. Hanmin University won by 18 points. Students rushed toward the exits. Others crowded around the players, hoping for photos and autographs. Amara immediately grabbed Hannah's wrist. We're leaving. So fast. Very fast. But you always stay to watch him leave. I've changed. You changed in 30 seconds? Exactly. Before Hannah could answer, someone called from behind. Excuse me. Amara froze. Her heartbeat doubled. Slowly, very slowly, she turned around. A tall young man wearing the university basketball team's warm-up jacket smiled politely. It wasn't Min-jun. It was one of his teammates. Hi. Amara blinked. Me? Yes. He looked at a small notebook in his hand. Are you, Amara? Her eyes widened. How do you know my name? The International Student Office introduced scholarship students at the opening ceremony. Oh, he smiled. The captain asked me to give this back. He handed her a small silver bracelet. Amara gasped. My bracelet. She looked at her wrist. It was gone. When? It fell while you were cheering. Cheering? No, screaming. The player laughed softly. The captain picked it up during halftime. Amara's brain stopped working. He picked it up? Yes. He knew it belonged to me? He guessed. Why? The player shrugged. You were the only person jumping higher than the cheerleaders. Hannah exploded with laughter. Amara wanted to disappear. Again, she carefully accepted the bracelet with both hands. Thank you. No problem. Oh, she hesitated. Could you also thank Captain Kang for me? I'll let him know. The player walked away. Amara stood frozen. He remembered me. Hannah folded her arms. No. He noticed your bracelet. No. He noticed you because you nearly confessed your love to the entire stadium. Amara covered her face. Please stop talking. I'm serious. I know. Up ahead, the basketball team boarded their shuttle. Just before stepping inside, Min-jun glanced toward the entrance. For a brief second, he saw Amara carefully fastening the bracelet back onto her wrist. Relief spread across her face. Without realizing it, he smiled again. His teammates noticed immediately. There it is. What? The smile. It appeared twice today. Min-jun calmly climbed onto the bus. It must have been the easy victory. Nobody believed him. The next morning, Amara arrived on campus determined to focus only on one thing. Studying. No basketball. No campus celebrity. No embarrassing moments. She adjusted her backpack and walked confidently toward the business building. Then, she turned the corner and almost collided with Kang Min-jun himself. Their phones slipped from their hands at exactly the same time. They both bent down to pick them up and accidentally reached for the same phone. Their fingers touched. Both froze. For the first time, they were standing face to face, close enough to hear each other breathe. Neither of them knew this accidental collision was about to change everything. Amara's heart stopped. No, it didn't stop. It was beating so loudly she was certain the entire campus could hear it. Her fingers were still resting against Kang Min-jun's. Warm, steady, real. For one long second, neither of them moved. Then both of them pulled their hands back at exactly the same time. "I'm sorry," they said together. They both blinked. Silence. Then, Amara's brain completely abandoned her. "Say something normal," she told herself. "Anything normal." Instead she blurted, "Congratulations." Min-jun looked puzzled. "For what?" "For?" Her mind raced. Being tall. The silence that followed was so heavy that even the pigeons nearby seemed embarrassed. A group of passing students stopped walking. One whispered, "Did she just congratulate Captain Kang for being tall?" Another nodded slowly. "I think she did." Amara wanted to pack her bags and fly back to Nigeria immediately. Min-jun looked at her for another moment. Then, to Amara's complete surprise, the corner of his lips lifted ever so slightly. It wasn't a laugh. It wasn't a smile. It was somewhere in between. "You've already thanked me." "What?" "For the bracelet." Amara's eyes widened. "You know. My teammate told me." "Oh, I was going to thank you again." "You just did." Another awkward silence. Why is talking so difficult? Amara thought. She could confidently give presentations in class. She could negotiate business cases. She had even delivered a speech in Korean during orientation. But standing in front of Kang Min-jun, she suddenly forgot how language worked. At that moment, a cheerful voice interrupted them. "Captain." 3 basketball players jogged over. One of them froze dramatically. His eyes bounced between Amara and Min-jun. "Are we interrupting something?" "No," Min-jun answered calmly. "Absolutely not," Amara shouted at the exact same time. The players exchanged knowing looks. One quietly elbowed another. "I told you." "Told me what?" "The green scarf girl." "What green scarf girl?" "The one who cheers like she's being paid." Amara heard every single word. She slowly covered her face. "Please, let the earth open." Just then, another voice echoed across the courtyard. "Amara!" It was Hannah. She came running over carrying 2 iced coffees. "There you are. I've been looking." She stopped mid-sentence. Her mouth slowly fell open. Then she looked at Min-jun. Then back at Amara. Then back again. "Am I dreaming?" Amara closed her eyes. "No. This is actually happening?" "Unfortunately." Hannah smiled brightly. "Captain Kang, hello? I'm Hannah." Min-jun nodded politely. "Hello." She immediately grabbed Amara's arm. "We're going to be late for Professor Kim's lecture." "We are." "Yes. But class starts in 30 minutes. "I know. We should leave now." Without waiting for another word, Hannah dragged Amara away. The moment they were out of earshot, Hannah squealed so loudly that 2 students turned around. "You talked to him." "I embarrassed myself." "He smiled at you." "He pitied me." "He remembered your bracelet." "He remembered my stupidity." Hannah laughed until tears filled her eyes. "You know what's funny?" "What?" "You've spent months imagining your first conversation with Kang Min-jun." "I know." "And you congratulated him for existing vertically." Amara buried her face in her hands. "I don't want to talk about it." "Oh, I'm definitely talking about it." "You promised you'd support me." "I am supporting you." "How?" "I'm supporting your future grandchildren with this story." Meanwhile, back near the basketball court, Jaehyun looked at Min-jun with folded arms. So, you're smiling again." "I wasn't." "You've smiled 3 times in 2 days." "It must be the weather." "It isn't." Another teammate leaned closer. "Captain." "Yes." "What's her name?" Min-jun adjusted the strap on his backpack before answering. "Amara." All 3 players stared at him. "You know her name?" He paused for a second. I've heard it. The players looked at each other. Nobody said another word, but they were all thinking the same thing. For someone who claimed not to notice girls, their captain had remembered the name of one very particular freshman. That afternoon, Professor Kim entered the lecture hall carrying a stack of folders. "Good morning, everyone. I have an announcement." The room immediately became quiet. Next month, Hanmin University will host the National Innovation Challenge. The students murmured excitedly. This year's competition will pair students from different faculties. The winning team will receive a full scholarship grant and an internship with Korea's largest global company. The entire classroom erupted. Professor Kim smiled. "The partners have already been chosen." He picked up the first list. "Our first team." He adjusted his glasses. "Business student, Amara Okafor." Amara sat up straight. "Paired with." Professor Kim looked down again. "Engineering student, Kang Min-jun." The classroom fell into stunned silence. Then, every single head slowly turned toward Amara. Even she couldn't breathe. Out of 20,000 students. Why him? Amara was certain she had misheard. There was no way Professor Kim had just said, "Kang Min-jun." Her Kang Min-jun. Well, not her Kang Min-jun. The university's Kang Min-jun. The same Kang Min-jun whose basketball highlights she secretly watched before every exam because she believed they brought her good luck. The same Kang Min-jun whose posters, hidden inside her closet, would definitely get her disowned if anyone found them. Professor Kim looked around the classroom. "Miss Amara?" She didn't answer. "Miss Amara Okafor?" Hannah elbowed her so hard she nearly fell off her chair. "Stand up." "Oh!" Amara jumped to her feet. "Why yes, Professor. You'll be working with Mr. Kang for the National Innovation Challenge." "Me!" The class erupted into laughter. Professor Kim adjusted his glasses. "Unless another Amara Okafor has secretly enrolled this morning." More laughter. Amara smiled awkwardly. "Right? That's me." Meanwhile, across campus, engineering students received the same announcement. Professor Choi finished reading the list. "Kang Min-jun." Min-jun looked up calmly. "Yes, Professor. You'll be partnering with a business student." He handed him a folder. "Amara Okafor." The classroom immediately became noisy. "No way. The green scarf girl? I've seen her at every basketball game. I thought she was just another fan." Jaehyun slowly turned toward Min-jun. "Captain. I think fate is working overtime." Min-jun simply placed the folder into his backpack. "We're classmates for a project." "Just classmates. Just classmates." Nobody believed him. Less than 30 minutes later, the entire university knew. Not because the professors announced it, because students did. Every hallway buzzed with whispers. "The basketball captain is paired with the Nigerian girl. Didn't she almost confess during the game? I heard she made him smile. They're probably already friends." "No way. I heard they exchanged bracelets. They're dating." "What?" "I heard they're secretly dating." Rumors spread across campus faster than Wi-Fi. By lunchtime, even the university confession page had exploded. Anonymous number 4718. "Does anyone know if Captain Kang has a girlfriend? Asking for my mental health." Replies flooded in. "Maybe the international student? The girl with the green scarf? Didn't they walk together yesterday? I saw them touching hands this morning." Someone even uploaded a blurry photo. It showed Amara and Min-jun bending to pick up their phones. From the angle, it looked as though they were holding hands. The comments multiplied every second. Amara, completely unaware of the chaos, happily carried her lunch tray toward an empty table. Before she could sit down, 3 girls suddenly occupied the seats opposite her. They smiled. The kind of smile that wasn't really a smile. The tallest one spoke first. "So, you're Amara." Amara nodded politely. "Yes, I'm Yoon Seowa." The name sounded familiar. Then Amara remembered. Campus beauty. Dance club president. One of the university's most popular students. She had also been rumored to like Kang Min-jun for nearly 2 years. Seoul folded her arms. I heard you'll be working with Min-jun. It's just a project. I'm sure. The girl beside her leaned forward. You seem close. We're not. You've spoken several times already. Only because we accidentally. Accidentally? The girls exchanged amused looks. Seoul smiled again. Well, I hope you'll remember something. Amara blinked. What? Don't mistake kindness for affection. The table became silent. Seoul stood up. The captain is polite to everyone. She picked up her tray. Enjoy your lunch. The 3 girls walked away. Hannah sat down beside Amara 2 seconds later. What was that about? Amara looked at her food. I just got warned. Warned? Hannah turned to look at the girls leaving the cafeteria. Oh, so the fan club has declared war. I don't want a war. You don't get to choose. I haven't done anything. I know. But the campus doesn't. At that exact moment, a familiar voice echoed behind them. Amara. She froze. Slowly, she turned around. Standing there, holding 2 project folders, was Kang Min-jun. Every conversation in the cafeteria stopped. Nearly 200 students turned to look. Min-jun walked straight toward her table as if nobody else existed. I found the project schedule. He placed 1 folder gently in front of her. We should discuss it after class. Amara stared at him, unable to speak. The cafeteria remained completely silent. Then, someone's chopsticks hit the floor. Another student whispered loudly, He's talking to her first? Across the room, Seoul slowly tightened her grip on her spoon. Her smile had completely disappeared. And for the very first time, she realized the Nigerian girl she had dismissed as an overexcited fan might actually become her biggest rival. Red heart, if you were Amara, what would you have done when Seoul confronted you? Stay calm or stand your ground? Tell us in the comments. And if you're loving this slow-burn Afro-Korean romance, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the growing family here on Afro-K Tales. The biggest twist in Amara and Min-jun's story is still waiting. The university cafeteria had never been so quiet. Nearly 200 students stared at one table. Kang Min-jun stood calmly in front of Amara, holding a blue project folder. We should discuss the innovation challenge after class, he said in his usual calm voice. Amara blinked twice. Me? Min-jun nodded. You are my teammate. Oh, she quickly stood up. Right, project. Yes, project. She reached for the folder so quickly that her tray tipped over. A bowl of kimchi stew slid across the table. No, no, no. She grabbed the tray. The spoon flew into the air. The chopsticks rolled onto the floor. A carton of milk toppled over and headed straight for Min-jun's white sneakers. The entire cafeteria gasped. Min-jun calmly stepped back just before the milk reached him. Silence. Amara covered her face with both hands. Why does gravity hate me? Hannah quietly whispered. I've never seen someone lose a fight against lunch. Several students burst into laughter. To everyone's surprise, Min-jun crouched down. He picked up the fallen chopsticks, then the spoon, then the folder that had slipped from Amara's hands. He placed everything neatly back onto the table. You dropped these. His voice was gentle, not annoyed, not impatient, just gentle. Amara looked up. Thank you. No problem. Without another word, Min-jun nodded politely and walked away. The cafeteria remained frozen until the doors closed behind him. Then, the noise exploded. Oh my gosh! He picked up her spoon. I've known Captain Kang for 3 years. I've never seen him help anyone like that. They're definitely dating. No, they're secretly engaged. What? The milk was their engagement ceremony. Rumors multiplied by the second. Hannah leaned across the table. You've officially broken the campus. I didn't do anything. You almost attacked him with dairy products. That afternoon, Amara arrived at the university library 15 minutes early. She wasn't taking any chances. She chose a table near the window and carefully arranged everything. Notebook, laptop, pens, highlighters, sticky notes, a bottle of water. She even rehearsed how she would greet him. Hello, Min-jun. Too casual. Good afternoon, Captain Kang. Too formal. Hi. Too short. Don't embarrass yourself. Best option. At exactly 3 o'clock, footsteps approached. She looked up. Min-jun was carrying 2 books and a laptop. He wore a simple gray hoodie instead of his basketball jacket. Without the crowds surrounding him, he looked surprisingly ordinary, almost lonely. Sorry to keep you waiting. You didn't, Amara replied quickly. I came early. He glanced at his watch. By 15 minutes. Was it obvious? A little. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Min-jun opened his notebook. I've already read the competition guidelines. So have I. We need to design a technology-based solution for international students. Amara's eyes lit up. I actually have an idea. You do. She nodded enthusiastically. When I first came to Korea, I got lost almost every day. Min-jun smiled faintly. I've heard. You've heard. The security office still talks about the Nigerian freshman who accidentally entered the chemistry building looking for the library. Amara groaned. I thought everyone forgot. They didn't. She covered her face again. Can I have one normal memory on this campus? I'm afraid it's too late. She looked up. Was that a joke? It might have been. For the first time, she heard him laugh. It wasn't loud, just a quiet chuckle, but it transformed his entire face. Without realizing it, Amara smiled too. Across the library, 3 students watched from behind a bookshelf. One quietly took out a phone. Click. The camera captured the exact moment they smiled at each other. Within minutes, the photo appeared on the university confession page. Breaking news. Captain Kang was seen smiling at the international student again. Comments flooded in instantly. I've never seen him smile this much. The green scarf girl has magical powers. Are they really just project partners? Back in the library, neither Amara nor Min-jun had any idea. Outside those walls, the entire campus had already started writing a love story for them. And someone, hidden behind another bookshelf, was watching with narrowed eyes. Yoon Seoa. She quietly clenched her fists. This isn't over, she whispered. What would you do if you were Amara? Stay by the side of the captain, the most liked person in school? Or give him space? Tell us in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for part 2 of this amazing Afro-Korean story and more heartwarming Afro-Korean love stories here on the Afro-K Tales. The biggest emotional turning point is just ahead.